I believe that each of you could open up YouTube and check out the video which teaches how to create, let's say, Google banner campaign, right? But my gut feeling is that Jēkabs, next speaker, will tell us some tips and tricks how to avoid showing your banners, let's say, on propaganda media, maybe on some violence media types, right? So with warm applause, let's welcome Jēkabs on the stage.
Hello. 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 Oh yes, it works. Thank you for coming to my presentation. I was a bit worried that right after the break the room will not be full, but I see quite a lot of you. Thank you for that. All right, I will be talking as many speakers today about digital advertising and in fact more about Google Ads, but the tips and tricks that I will show can be used also in Meta platform and other platforms. So let's dive straight into it. What do we know about digital advertising? It's very easy to start. You just leave your card details, boost a post for €5, start a search campaign. Anyone can do it, even a kid can do it, and there are no entrance barriers at all. Since it's very easy to start doing it, we can also very easily make mistakes. I think all of us have own experience or from some friend or colleague that you miss a few clicks when setting up the campaign, and while you sleep, the budget is gone, the results are not there, and you have not reached the target of your campaign. Certainly, I have been in this situation many times and wasted a few thousand, maybe even tens of thousands in bad ads. We don't want to repeat that mistake, and we all want to build this machine. I call it a profit machine. We want to make a system when we insert €100 and it gives you back 300. If you are very lucky or talented or both, maybe it can give you back even 4 or 5. But definitely we don't want to end up in a situation where it gives back nothing or less than we just inserted in this machine. And the goal is to build this machine scalable and repeatable. That's the goal. Now, going back to the topic of my presentation, there is one very important keyword hidden here, or question, and it's where. This is the question that every major advertising platform will ask you right at the beginning. So, where do you want us to show your ads? Is it Riga? Is it Latvia? Is it some other country? The whole Europe? Probably the whole world. So this is a very important question. And platforms are becoming very good at tracking where we are because of this little device in our pockets. So they have lots of information, how we move, where we are. Thus also many options how we can target our ads. However, after seeing a lot of campaigns together with my team, we've been analyzing more than 100 campaigns or more than 100 clients in the last years in the campaigns. And what we see, 99% of them looks like this. They have chosen one target market that they served, where they sell their products, and they treat this market as one place. Not dividing it into cities or some other targeting types. However, usually when we look at our CRM data, there are many people from CRM world today, or just by knowing who your customers really are, it's not the case that they are evenly spread out throughout the country. They are usually concentrated somewhere in the cities. If you have urban clients, maybe in countryside, if it's vice versa. Maybe you're focusing more on young people, maybe old people. So they tend to live in different parts of our target markets, but not spread out evenly. And here I made a theoretical example how it would look like. So normally your clients concentrate somewhere. And when we know this information, at Roybox we tend to target the campaign something like this. And this is called Geo Targeting. This is a way to deliver ads based on your audience location. Because again, those small devices in our pocket help to locate them. And this might look very weird, very complicated, and like, what the fuck is that, and how can I replicate it, and in the end, what's the benefit of it? The goal is to show your ads to the right people that can actually afford your products, that actually want to buy them, and maximize the outcome of your advertising. And today I will show you 3 ways how you can do it yourself. Doesn't matter if you are an executive or you have a marketing team or an outsourced team. Really easy ways. And it always starts with getting your sales results based on location. If you're using Google Ads, and most of my examples right now will be related to Google Ads because that's what we specialize in, but it works similarly in other platforms. So if you have access to Google Ads account, you find a button on the left menu that says locations, so very obvious. If you don't have access, ask your team to do it for you. It's very easy. If they have any problems with it, my contact details will be on the last slide. Ask me and I will help you do it myself. After pressing this button, you will have like a list of all the countries where you currently are advertising. And this is a real example from one of my hobby projects. I sell software online, and the price of my software is 15 euros. The average lifetime value of my customers is 60 euros, so they pay me 15 euros on the first month, and then they continue using it for another 3-4 months, so in total I get 60 euros. I made a decision that I want to advertise it and get customers for 15 euros. So here you can see that over the last 100 days, I have spent more than 20,000 in total, and in Canada more than 2,000. That's my largest market, and I have reached my goal. And we could kind of like stop my presentation right now because the goal is reached and that's it. But that's not the point. The point is to drill in deeper, and Google allows you to do it very easily. So if you click on Canada, the next, they will show you how these KPIs are reached on a regional level. In this case, we see that in Ontario, I have again reached my goal, even doing better than on average. I get my customer for 14 euros. And then I have British Columbia, where I'm doing bad. And again, if I would not be careful, I would inform my marketing team, please stop advertising in British Columbia because it's a loss-making business. If, for example, I would be, I don't know, selling t-shirts and it would cost me 15 euros to produce one t-shirt, it does not make sense to advertise clients for 25 euros. But that's not the point, because we want to drill in even more deep. And if I click on my largest region, where I have kind of reached my goal, I can get a report based on a city level. So now we are from very broad Canada level getting to the city level, and then we see, okay, list of cities, and the biggest one is all Toronto, where actually I'm doing pretty bad. My results are above my target, and the spread between different cities is increasing. For example, in York, I get clients for 6 euros, so very, very good. And then, if you remember that British Columbia was very expensive and bad area for my business, we can also click on that one, and again, get a drill down, and there the situation is even more interesting, that kind of the region that I was about to cancel out, tell my marketing team, please stop wasting my money there, we can see that only the Vancouver, the largest city, is very expensive, where my client costs like 26 euros. The rest of the cities are actually pretty good, and some of them are actually bringing me customers for very, very good price, below 1 euro. So what we learned is that you can find this report yourself if you have a Google Ads account and see that your clients actually are not evenly spread out throughout your target markets, and they concentrate somewhere. All right, once we have detected that, what to do with it? Our goal is to start dividing our target market into kind of smaller pieces, thus helping the Google algorithm work more efficiently. Because if you give Google algorithm 2,000 euros, like in my case, and say that here is Canada, please find me customers. It's a lot harder to do it than saying, okay, this is Old Toronto, or this is York. Please find me their customers for 2000. And especially when I know that most of my customers are already coming from those cities or those like parts of the world. So how can we divide our playground? Google gives us 3 tools. And this is like a Lego for us. The first one is the proximity targeting. You simply find a place on the map, like an address, or put a pin on the map and choose what will be the radius around that place. The smallest one Google allows you is 1 kilometer. Or you can play around with different shapes. They differ from one country to another. But mostly it is either a city or part of the city or a zip code. So for example, if I would like to sell my products to e-commerce professionals, it probably might be a smart idea to put this circle above this conference hall, and all of you will see my ads when you browse internet. And lastly, but very important thing is this red area there on the right corner, it's called an exclusion zone. And that comes in very handy when you, for example, want to take one city. Let's remember this, like Vancouver, very expensive for my business. I could put this exclusion zone for my campaigns, and then Google will stop advertising there. However, it's also possible to kind of exclude in one of the campaigns and then include using this shape in another campaign and use kind of create a separate campaign where I can like drill in very closely and look how my campaign performs only in that part of the world. All right, so we have learned how to find this information, how we can like work with this information. Third thing that I want to tell you is the mistakes that we made ourselves when doing this, and mistakes that we have seen others are making, and I hope that you will not repeat them. So 4 things to keep in mind. Sorry, I will have a sip. I promise this is the last technical slide, and then we are about to finish. So the first thing is kind of starting with too detailed targeting. When you have this report in front of your eyes, it's very tempting to, export it in an Excel file and find only top 20% most performing zip codes, and then do it yourself or tell your team, all right, let's bet on this, put all the budget there, we have the cheapest conversions there, and our marketing profit machine will thrive. That might be the case, but quite often it is actually very opposite, because by starting to kind of going in too detailed way, you lose a lot of data, and the best practice is actually to kind of understand where majority of your clients are, then place a large circle around it, and then each week or each month drill in closer and closer and closer, and that will kind of assure that you do not lose some data and make the right decisions. Secondly, large transportation hubs like airports, central stations. Many people commute, and if you include those inside your targeting, it might be the case that they are actually living in another city or even another country, and they just happen to be inside this circle for some period of time, and they will blend into your analytics, and your results will have some statistical error. So don't do that, or if you do it, just consider it and take it into account. Thirdly, removing zones that have like very, very low impressions, meaning that very, very few people actually saw your ads. That might be false because it might mean that you are actually losing in the auctions. Because Google is an auction mechanism, many competitors are bidding for the same keywords, and if you appear on those searches very few times, and you have very bad conversion rates there, it might simply mean that you need to increase your bid to appear more often, thus have more data, and thus make this decision remove something or not remove something statistically significant. And lastly, do not focus on just getting the cheapest conversion, because quite often I hear from many marketers that, yeah, I got the cheapest cost per conversion for my clients, and then my question always is, okay, but how many conversions in total did you get? Because the goal is always to boost the business, not like, save 20-30% of your marketing budget. The goal is always invest the same amount or invest even more amount and bring more results to your clients. And by simply focusing too much on this, you will have less conversions, thus less data, and again, it's higher probability that there will be some error or problem from the data perspective. And I will leave you with this, that creative world and advertising and marketing world always urges us to kind of think inside the box and be very creative. And that indeed is true for content marketing. However, when it comes to targeting, I urge you to think inside the box, because the data don't lie, and you have those data right in front of you inside your Google Ads and Meta and programmatic and other platform accounts. Thank you for listening. Before you switch on the mic, I have also a small present for the best questions. So yeah, I hope there will be at least one.
Okay, I have one question. I want to get that.
Yeah. Let's try.
So, what is your personal feeling about how precise is this targeting? Let's say if you target, let's say, zip code.
Mm-hmm. All right. I guess I'm not the right person to answer this question. That should be more like addressed to Google or Meta. But from what we have seen, it's rather precise, and it becomes even more precise when you use those proximity targeting, because that forces Google to know that the customer exactly is in that place. Because if you just use this like countrywide targeting, there might be the case that someone uses, restricts the location kind of tracking, or uses VPNs or something, and that might lead to situation that Google knows only on a city level or country level. For example, those who have played around with Google Analytics, you probably noticed that quite a few conversions in Latvia, for example, shows in Madona, then in Riga, and then other large hubs. So whenever they don't know, they know that it's kind of in Latvia, but they don't know where precisely. Once you tell Google, I want to show ads only in Ķīpsele, then they will be forced to do it, so it becomes more precise.
Yeah, I asked because we could actually discuss one example. Let's say I had a campaign on Google Ads in Jelgava for a cafe, right? Mm-hmm. And when I checked the actual search terms to the search campaign, it showed up that there are quite a lot of search terms in Lithuanian language, which are searching competitors, other cafes, let's say in Vilnius, other counties. So this is why I do those things you explained over here, but sometimes by checking search terms, it kind of feels like how precise are those? Of course, it may be a question more to the Google, like you said, but yeah, that's an example.
Yeah, it might happen, but yeah, as I said, I would not like to kind of speculate on this on this stage, because we are partners with Google, but
I won't challenge you.
No, yes, I just, one thing that you can do is play around, because I'm not saying that you should only use this thing. This is just one of the things that you can add to your marketing stack, and obviously you should be using all other targeting methods, which is of course the language, the gender, the age, income, and all other possibilities that the platform provides you, just to kind of minimize the risk. If you have you're worried that there are, let's say, Lithuanians traveling from Lithuania to Jēkabs, but because it's kind of close to border, you can, if you have an e-commerce product, for example, you can just play around with the timing of the day, because they most probably travel throughout the day, but during the night time we are at home, and then you are more sure that this exact location is where they spend the most of the time, where they're from, etc.
Cool.
So I think you earned that.
Let's make it fair. Let's have some questions from the audience. I got all of them.
A while ago, you had one slide where you talked about avoiding too detailed targeting. How do you know that you've gone too detailed? How do you benchmark this? How do you know that, shit, I've gone too far, this is too detailed, or you have to go back?
Okay, yeah, so I know it from the mistakes that we have made in the past. Like 2 years ago when we had this idea and we just started out, we took into account lots of different layers. It was like a pancake on pancake, each pancake representing a new data layer. So we analyzed lots of data, socioeconomic data, income, age, education. Then we had real estate data, points of interest, like what's actually located inside this area. And then we made calculations or made an algorithm with our data science team and calculated the best zones where to advertise in Riga. And then tested it out. And it kind of did not work that well when we just took the whole city or whole country, depending on the client, divided it into smaller pieces gradually, but not like for forever. Like in 2 months' time, we were able to get down to something that, like I showed on the slides, it's just, let's say, trial and error. We found better success. Because each product is a bit different, and even if the best data scientist will calculate what's the best areas where to place ads for your product and your campaign will tell the story where it works better.
Okay?
Yes, yes.
So you already partially answered to my question, but it was not fully a question, but maybe like my thoughts, maybe you could address them. So I also do a lot of micro-targeting in the company I work for, and sometimes I get a feeling that this really works in the larger countries, like you showed the Canada, perfect example. But when we are starting using the same tactics in the Baltics, sometimes it's just not worth the effort. So the time you spend on doing those micro-targetings and trying to search for smaller locations when you can find your customers, that just is not worth it, because at the same time when you just place just use the city or something else, and it's more efficient from the time consumed on placing the ad.
Yes, exactly. You know, Latvia and in general the Baltic countries are relatively small. We have like smaller population. Also, the territory is maybe not that big, but it's good that you at least do it on the city level because you can get lots of data. What we usually suggest to do is do this, but for the largest cities. So 1 million, you know, or like even like 500,000, even 100,000 people, it's like enough data to kind of play around. But that of course depends on the product. If it's very like niche product, then you know, and very few conversions happen, it will be again very statistically insignificant. So yeah, I agree with you. So we usually do it for larger campaigns.
Thanks, Jekabs, for onboarding us to the targeting. The question is, based on your engagements with Baltic customers in e-commerce, what are the best results you so far achieved on any KPI which you prefer to answer? Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. It's glad that you asked, and I actually my goal was to use this opportunity to speak here to get some customers from the Baltic states, because we have had some case studies and pilot projects with a few companies in Baltic states, but we are mainly working with clients in US, UK, Germany, Italy. So at the moment, unfortunately, we do not have any active case here in the Baltics. But speaking about case studies, I don't want to make this like advertise my company only, but in our website we have a few case studies where you can see that our customers are sometimes enjoying the uplift in the performance, even in hundreds of %. These are rare cases, but 8 out of 10 times we get at least double-digit uplift with our work, and that's our goal.
Hello. Wow. So in Facebook, the auction works so the better the visual, the cheaper will basically the CPM be. But how does it work for Google? How can you decrease the CPM and the cost for, a mile? Or let's say for search.
Yes.
Or the whole Performance Max campaign. Yeah. How can you decrease the cost for it?
Okay, if I understood your question correctly, so we decrease it in multiple ways. First of all, we just make sure that we do not spend the budget in the zones where the people are not likely to convert, either from our data that we have on our end, or either based on the data that are already there in the account of our customers. And then by reducing the scope, second benefit is that the algorithm can be more effective, because algorithm, it's like a machine, it needs some kind of a resource, and when you kind of narrow down, this machine learning becomes more efficient. And thirdly, we can just play around with shifting the budget towards those zones which has higher probability to convert. So these are like three factors combined.
Okay, Jēkabs, you have won the award of most questions? No?
Yeah, so the question was more about the auction, like how can you win more in Google auction?
Okay.
Yeah.
In Google auction, again, I guess I'm not the best person to talk about how they work, but Google auction is always a mechanism of, but we have noticed that those, first of all, you have this like optimization score, and the Google kind of calculates whether this ad and your product is suitable for that keyword in that particular moment. That's one factor, because let's say if I'm selling t-shirts, but I want to advertise my product in a keyword that is completely unrelated, I will never appear on those searches or very rarely. And then the next thing is price. So how much I'm willing to bid. So if I bid according to the threshold within my competition, then I will appear there.
I think quality score is crucial as well. It's a hidden metric, many don't use, but yeah, we agree on that. Okay, thank you, Jēkabs. Who won the... Yeah.